I had always loved old things, the kind of antiques that carried a history you could almost feel. So when I found an antique mirror advertised online, I was immediately interested. The photos were grainy, taken in dim light, but the frame was ornate, carved with patterns that suggested age and craftsmanship. The seller assured me it was in perfect condition with only minor surface scratches. I agreed to meet them in person to pick it up. The street where the seller lived was quiet, quieter than I expected for a weekday afternoon. The building itself was old, its brickwork worn and slightly uneven. I parked in front, adjusted my bag and walked to the door. A woman answered, probably in her 50s, smiling politely. The mirror was taller than I had imagined. She carefully held it upright, leaning it slightly so I could inspect it. "Be careful with it," she said. Her tone was soft, almost affectionate, but there was a subtle intensity in her eyes. She watched me as I examined the frame, tracing my fingers over the carvings. It made my skin prickle. I handed her the money, thanked her, and took the mirror home. Carrying it carefully through the narrow hallways of my apartment building, I felt a strange weight, as if it were heavier than its size suggested. By the time I placed it against the wall in my living room, I was slightly winded, but it looked perfect. That night, I noticed something odd. The reflection in the mirror didn't quite match my room. Shadows fell differently, and for a moment, I thought I saw a figure standing behind me when I turned. I froze, heart hammering, but when I looked again, there was nothing. Just my empty apartment. I dismissed it as tiredness, the mind playing tricks. But the next morning, I noticed that the mirror was slightly angled differently. I was certain I had positioned it flush against the wall. I adjusted it, thinking nothing of it, but a cold unease settled over me. Over the next week, small things began to disturb me. I started noticing reflections that weren't mine. Sometimes, when I passed the mirror quickly, I saw a shadow move behind me, even though no one was there. Once, I swear I saw a figure sitting on my couch, hunched forward, staring at me. I spun around, nothing. The couch was empty. I tried rationalizing it. Perhaps it was a trick of the light, my imagination. I even moved the mirror to another wall, thinking changing its position would help. It didn't. The reflections continued. They were subtle at first, a slight shift in the angle of a shadow, but unmistakable once you noticed them. Then came the moments when the reflection acted independently. I would raise my hand and the mirrored hand would lag, moving slightly after mine. Sometimes my reflection's eyes seemed to blink when mine did not. My skin crawled every time it happened. I stopped walking past it casually. I turned my head quickly whenever I moved around the apartment, afraid to meet those eyes. At night, the mirror seemed to hum with a presence. My apartment, normally quiet, felt heavy, oppressive. I would wake to the sound of soft tapping or faint whispers, always near the mirror. I couldn't see anyone and the mirror was still. But I knew it was something in there, something watching me. I considered returning it. I called the seller, but the number was disconnected. The apartment was gone the next time I tried to visit the street. I realized with sinking horror that whoever owned it before me, or whatever had lingered inside the mirror, was no longer bound to that place. The mirror now stands in my bedroom, angled just slightly so I don't have to see it from my usual spot. Yet every night when I lie awake, I catch glimpses of movement, shadows that belong to no one, reflections that don't match reality. And sometimes, I swear I see the faintest figure standing behind the glass, smiling just a little too knowingly. I avoid my reflection now. I avoid passing by it. And I know deep down that one day it will stop waiting and start acting, because it has learned what to mimic, what to anticipate. And I will no longer be alone in my apartment.